All right, we are back. We are back. Hey, welcome. It's Corbellic. Welcome to the Corbellic Studio. We're going to be doing some live painting today for St. Patrick's Day. All right, we're going to be bringing in the pot of gold. We're going to be bringing in the gold. All right, and it's going to be a great day. We're going to have a lot of fun. I really don't have too many things prepared as far as the references when it comes to art, but I really love days like that as well. I mean, I always have so many references, right? Like I got thousands of different references of art that I'm going to be using or that I can use, but I just don't have planned ones. But those are usually the most fun because I really just want to come in here and just have some fun, just slap it down, show you how quick and easy it is, how my ego's not involved in it, how we're just going to get through art paintings. Today, I just want to get through some art paintings, have some fun. Whatever happens, happens. Whatever doesn't, it doesn't. It doesn't matter. We don't control these things. We don't control the market, but at least that we're showing up. We're here. I tried to find the only thing that I tried to find the only thing green that I do have, and this is the only thing because I didn't want to get pinched. Remember that when you were growing up? I don't know how old you are, but I'm old. So I remember growing up, if you didn't have anything green, then you get pinched. All right. So that's just one of the things. Let's see if we have who we have here. All right. It seems like we have just a few people here. All right. Rocking the green for St. Patty's Day. Yes, let's go. Exactly. Rocking the green. Hope everybody's doing good. Good morning out there. We got Jeff, we got Misty, we got Discerning Light, we got all right, we got people here so far. Don't worry, we're gonna get more people in here, but I'm also going to while you're here, let me set up my palette a little bit. All right. I had it a little bit, it was a little bit chunky from the last one. So what I did on the last one, this is what I like to do anytime that my palette is kind of chunky and is rotten, there's still some good paint in there. Like inside of me, being the frugal artist, I can't get rid of like just paint that's sitting there. Like I just can't throw it away. I can't do it. So there's some parts of it that's like kind of rotten or chunky or it may have mold on it. Whatever, it happens. It's not like it's food or anything. It's just paint. But what I'll do is I'll savage whatever I can. So I'll scrape off certain parts of the paint from the palette, and then I'll put it onto the new one. So what I'll do, I'll have this one. I had this one soaking overnight in water. It's just an old habit. That way I can it could always be like super wet, and that way it's easy. That way it doesn't dry out. And then I'll take this out. I'll remove the other one, but I'll lay it like on the table or something. And then I'll put this one on, the fresh one. And then what I'll do is I'll scrape the other one, the other whatever paint that I can still use from that one, and I'll put it onto this one, and then I'll still add to it. So that's what we're just going to do right now while we're here. I know like I have a bunch of videos, right, where I show how I do my palette, but there's always people that want to see me do it, and there's always people who want to see how we paint or how we mix the palette. So, I'll do this as many times as I can because I even remember now that I look back on it, I even remember when I started painting or whatever, for me, it was like one of those satisfying things for me to watch for me to watch other artists do it. And I thought it was satisfying to just see them, how they would squeeze paint out onto their palette or how they would do their structure. So I understand. And, I understand. I understand. Some things it's like we're so used to doing it 1,000 times, a million times, we really get caught up and we forget how special it is for other people and how important it is for other people. Um, of the things that we do, it might seem like riding a bike for us, but for other people, they might need to see the smaller steps of certain things and how important it is. So that's just me humbling myself, and I need to go back to doing a lot of the smaller things that I know that other people find very important. And that's something that I'm going to focus on myself. That's something that I did some internal reflection on, and I'm going to try my hardest to do that. A lot of things that I might think are small things or easy or whatever, I'm going to focus on showing them and being part of the process, right? It's important. So let's see. What's the next color? Okay, so I already have my beige color right here. Now it's just time for me to do white. And I'll buy the half gallon from Blix because I go through so much white. If I don't have a certain color, then I'll mix it myself with the white. Like what I need to put here is a brown, and then maybe even mix a little bit of a brown right now to make more tan color or skin tone beige color. So I'm gonna take a burnt sienna, and I don't really need that much burnt sienna. And let's see here. Let me touch it with my finger, see how chunky it is. It's not that bad. It's not that bad. I'll use it. I'll use it. I think that we should be able to be fine with that for the stream. Let's see here. What else we got? Let's put some cyan or turquoise down here below the green. I should have prepared a leprechaun reference, right? At least I should have done that. But I don't have it. So I guess you'll have to pinch me for that one. This one is going to be a like a light blue hue. Or not a light blue. It's not navy. It's lighter than navy. And I don't know how to really say it. It's cerulean. It says cerulean blue. I don't know if I said that right. But I like it. I like it better than the navy blue because it's more, I can do more with it. All right, and then I think that's good. The only thing I need now is just the black. And my black, I get my black from Blix. It's really strong pigment of black. I would not suggest for anybody to get black when it comes to Liquitex because it's very transparent. Even if you get the Mars one or the Midnight Moon black, whatever one, it's just transparent. It doesn't work good. And then you're going to have to like double paint it. You're going to be frustrated. When I say that I'm a lazy artist, like, of course I work hard, but I'm a lazy artist where I don't like to do more steps than what I need to do. So I don't even like to do more steps when it comes to paint, where it's like if it's a transparent paint, like if it's not intentional, if it's a transparent paint or a transparent black, I don't want to have to dry it off and then have to go back to it. That's one of the most frustrating things to me. I don't want a transparent thin black or something like that. I want to be able to get on with my project and then be done with it. So that's what I talk about. It's better just to be done with things. All right, I think we're good right there. So let me put up a canvas and we can get started. Boom. Our first painting of the day is going to be a panda bear. Not a polar bear, but a panda bear. All right, let's see here. Making sure that we're rocking and rolling. I'm just pulling the reference right now. All right. So we got our panda bear. Boom. Just making sure. Also, I just wanted to make sure that we were live. All right. Now let me turn the light. Boom. Bam. There we go. No signal. Let me plug you in. That's about it. Come on. There we go. All right. There's our panda. Oh, he's so cute. All right. Let's have some fun, right? You ready to have some fun? You ready to knock some paintings out? I'm ready to have some fun. Today we got a few topics today, like we always do, right? We always have some good topics to go into. And the first topic, as you can see at the bottom, if you like that new screen down there, where it's like we're gonna be like staying on track with topics or different themes of it, right? We got a whole new look here. We got the whole professional breakdown. But the first theme is going to be why most artists stay broke, or they choose to be broke on purpose. And I see it all the time. You know, that's one of my passions, that's one of my pet peeves. It's not just about the art part is what I have experience in, but the passion part for me is just people in general making money, or people being broke. Because I've been on both spectrums too many times. I understand what it's like, so I could talk about it like the back of my hand. And people do it to themselves subconsciously. Nice touch with the lower third while live. I dig it. I appreciate that. What lower third? The third? What's the third? Lower third. All right. So there we go right there. And when I say that artists, I'm not even talking about just artists. I'm talking about people in general, like in life. It's just crazy to me. Like it's my passion where the psychology of people choosing to be broke, especially in 2026. Like I really believe that that's a choice to be broke. And a lot of times it's because people secretly they attach their identity to being poor or being broke. You attach your identity to it for so long, or you attach your identity from even how you grew up. Maybe you've seen your parents struggling, or maybe you had a toxic relationship when it comes to money. So you feel like things either had to be difficult to make money, or that you're not deserving of it. But or you have some people, for example, who are artists, and they identify the whole I'm a starving artist. I mean, if you hear that enough in life, it becomes who you are. It can become your identity. I'm an artist, so it must be difficult. Everything must be difficult. I'm a starving artist. Jeff says it's a broadcast term for scrolling type GFs at the bottom of the screen. Some people call it ticker. Oh, see, you're smarter than I am. I didn't know anything about that. That's cool, man. I appreciate you breaking that down for me. I guess you you come from that background. Thank you. Yeah, I just figured let's make this thing a little bit more professional. I'm going to I'm going to be doing more live stream painting. So I was like, let me actually make it into a real show. Let me make this professional. But not to get sidetracked. But people identify being broke as their identity, as I'm a starving artist, so it must be difficult. I had to be a starving artist. Everybody said that I had to be a starving artist to do art. Everybody says that everything must be so difficult. And then if I'm not a starving artist and if I'm making money, then somehow that equates to like if I'm not a starving artist and I'm making money, then somehow that equates to me doing a thousand polar bear hairs. And it has to be, everything has to be so difficult for me. If not, then I'm undeserving of it. I mean, we're all guilty of that. And that's also a part of the ego thing too that I never really talk about. We always talk about dropping the ego, and we always talk about breaking free from the ego part of art. But I guess the big thing of what I'm talking about when breaking free from that is that it's okay to make money doing something that didn't take you that amount of time. A lot of times, like we're taught that everything in life has to be difficult to come to us, or everything must be a challenge. So we feel guilty if we spent a less amount of time on something, or something came easy to us. So we can't drop the ego to be like, just to do have something come easy to your life. You feel like everything must come so difficult. And I don't know why we do that to ourselves. Maybe I should do some research on that, of us as humans, where we're kind of like masochists. And when I talk about dropping the ego, I'm just talking about where make it okay that you can be, it's okay. We need to start normalizing it's okay to be successful. It's okay to be superheroes. I did a short video yesterday for the elite community to remind everybody that you're a phenomenal person, right? And of course, I always say that. But what I was saying in the video is that we need to remind ourselves that like it's okay to be a phenomenal person. It's okay to drop the ego and also be proud of who you are and not try to dim your own light. Because a lot of times we dim our own light to make either other people feel comfortable, or we're supposed to be, we always do this fake thing, and it's so stupid. I'm tired of it, where it's like we're supposed to be humble. Humble just means that we're trying to make other people around us feel comfortable by dimming our own light. And we need to be comfortable shining our own light instead of hiding behind it because we're trying to make other people comfortable. And we're being humble. I don't know too many successful people who are either success with business, money, who are humble. They're very kind people and they can be gracious, but humble is a different thing. Humble is just something that we say to make other people who are uncomfortable with our energy, to make them feel comfortable. And we need to get away from that, because then it's just making you broke. And then it's not even worth it in the end. Trust me, it's not even worth it. And we do it all the time. The same reason that we can't drop our ego when it comes to our art. So it becomes it becomes a self-sabotaging thing that we do to ourselves. And that's why I say that most artists choose to be broke. It's not even art, it's just what we do as humans. We choose to be broke because we choose to be a broke personality and let others dim our light. Or we're in the identity of thinking that everything's supposed to be so difficult in our life and we're supposed to be broke and it's okay. You know, one of the things that I say to myself is that my God doesn't want me to be broke. My God doesn't want me to wait till I die and then go to heaven for me to get my heaven on to get my heaven. My God also wants me to have my heaven on earth too. And it shouldn't be painstakingly bone jarring of every step. Now, of course, there's things that we have to work on. We have to work. But work becomes easy once you don't day trade the numbers and you can't control everything because God is with us. But I make it normal in my mind where it's like my God don't want me to be broke and he don't want me to be like everything has to be so difficult. We also sabotage ourselves where we think that if somebody has something that's if they have their heaven on earth, then we're like, oh, well, they have their heaven on earth because they don't believe in God and they're devil worshippers. They're bad people. How come you can't have both? How come you can't also be just a good person and be a believer and like what good people aren't supposed to have nice things? We need to get away from that. That's self-sabotaging you. I think that's about it for that panda. Let me turn the light on. So when I made this video yesterday and I talked about like on in the elite community, and I said have it be okay where you can have your light, right? There's this viral video going around, and it's this woman, and she's just like in a classy dress. She's a classy woman. She's not being like provocative or anything like that, but she's just going out in public. She's just at a mall or something, and how she's just presenting herself or how she's carrying herself has so much confidence where it makes other people around her uncomfortable. Like they know that she's a beautiful woman. They know that she's presenting herself to be classy and how she's holding herself with esteem. But there's somebody recording her secretly, and you can see the public behind her when they walk by, they're like, a lot of women are frowning at her, like, oh. And then a lot of guys, they're looking maybe at all a little bit, like are trying to look when they're with their wife or something. And the lady, she's just holding her head up where she has this confidence and she has this air about her that's attractive because she's not worried, she's not trying to dim her light, nor is she trying to explain like, oh, why are you dressing up? Are you going to church or something? Is it Easter? Like, how come you can't just dress up and be and present yourself and feel nice just because you want to? Now, I also apply this into life, but also about, well, I apply this to fashion or whatever, but also to life, where it's like there's so many times where we'll dim our own light. We'll do that all the time. We'll do it for our own family because we don't want to hear from them in the back of their mind or somebody saying, "Oh, who do you think you are? Oh, you always think you're special. Oh, you're always trying to dress up." And it's like we need to step away from that. If we had more humans And if we have more people that feel comfortable just being who they are, whatever it is, because you know what I always say is like we're all geniuses, we're all creators. I think we all have this big phenomenal light, but we dim it on purpose to make other people comfortable. And then we say words like, I'm humbling myself, I'm being humble. We're only saying that to make people with low energy feel comfortable. And I think we should get to a point where we're like the lady in the dress and we could dress up and feel good about ourselves without needing permission that we're doing it to go to church or we're doing it to we have a cocktail ball. Like what if you just want to put the pretty dress on? Sometimes a lot of times you have that pretty dress that's in the closet, and then you say to yourself, oh, I'm just waiting for that right event or that right moment to wear it instead of just wearing it. Who cares if you're just going to the grocery store? Who cares if you're just going to the mall? It's good to feel good about yourself. And then in these moments, if you ever do it, what you'll notice in these moments is that the world treats you different. The world treats you like you're a superstar, like you're someone important because you are someone important. But then also what happens psychologically is that you start believing in yourself more. You start knowing the power of of who you are. And then you start saying to yourself, I need to dress up more often. A lot of times we'll dress down to make, oh, I'm not doing anything. I'm not going anywhere. You know, there would be times where I would go out and I wasn't going anywhere special. I didn't plan it, but I would dress up in a tailored business suit just because it makes me feel good. But then I would see how society would look at me. And it's kind of like being chose with your mouth closed. Like you don't have to say anything. You don't have to dress like a bum and be like, well, actually, I'm this person and I'm a millionaire and I'm this. Nobody cares about that. A lot of times it's about the presentation. First impression is your only impression. But also what it does is it brings a frequency to you of more money. So there would be times where I would dress up, right? And I would go to a restaurant, I'd go somewhere, I would get in free, I would get free food, I would get free because people have the perception of it. And we need to be more comfortable about that, about ourselves. All right, here's our panda right here. Huh? Look at that. Isn't that cute? Isn't that fun? I love it. People love them. People love pandas, right? And it's okay to reinvent the wheel. It's okay to keep painting different references that you had before or different paintings that you had before. It's okay. I've done hundreds, thousands, maybe, you know, the thing like someone wins, another person loses, and what they've lost, they can always come back a month later, 2 months later, or maybe you have something that's the same or similar and they get a second chance. On that second chance that they get to bid on that painting, they'll end up bidding more. So that's a good thing. There's nothing wrong with that. But I love that. I love that feeling. So, and then there's an old saying, right? Where it's like, if you if you dress good, then you feel good. If you feel good, then you perform better. If you perform better, then you're going to be gravitating more light towards you where you get better. It's just like the same as having a clean car. You ever get your car washed and then for some reason you feel like the car drives better? The car drives different? Am I crazy? You know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about, right? You ever get you ever get a car wash and then just because you got the car wash and then the car is like completely clean, it's clean on the inside, it's clean on the outside. For some reason, when you pull off from that car wash, why does the car feel like it dries faster and the brakes are better and it dries better? You know what I'm talking about. It's because it's the whole mindset. It's the whole psychology. The car is just a great analogy for yourself. And we need to be comfortable with being that. I'm using the lady as an example of dressing up, but it's a great analogy and it's a great example that we need to be comfortable in our own life. We need to be comfortable. How many times have you gone to a clothing store, seen something beautiful? It's a beautiful dress, and then you go, "Oh, but I don't have an event to wear that to." Why? Your event is your life. Now, there's two different forms of arrogance that I talk about. One form of arrogance is when I'm talking about being a coach like myself, and then I'll see arrogance of people wanting to do what they want to do, and they're either skipping steps or they're skipping a whole foundation process to how to be successful, and then months later they have to double back and they waste time and they go, "Oh, I should have just listened to you and I should have just did it this way." That's arrogance because you want to do what you want to do. Or arrogance of being like, I'm poor. Teach me how to make money. Oh, you're teaching me how to make money? I don't like that version of how you're teaching me how to make money. That doesn't make sense to me. Oh, then that's arrogance. But you're poor and you're asking for advice. That's arrogance. But there's another form of arrogance that I totally agree for. And people have been saying this to me ever since I was a kid. They would say, "Hey, Corbellic, you're arrogant." I don't care. I need to believe in myself because who else is going to believe in me but me? What am I trying to do? Dub my light for you? I've never met a super successful person who wasn't arrogant. And I don't care what people say, "Oh, that's a bad." No, it's not. They're only saying that because they want you to go back to that word of being humble. And that's you also sacrificing your goals. That's that you sacrificing yourself. And that's why people stay broke. You need to say to yourself, "I'm a phenomenal person. I give people opportunities. I'm a blessing in people's lives. I'm the best painter. I'm the best mother. I'm the best. I'm the best. I need to hold my head up high. No one else is going to believe in you as much as you are, and it's okay." You holding that feeling is what's going to bring the energy to you. It's going to bring success to you. Arrogance is a good thing. It's also how you could get beginner's luck. It's also how you could take more action because your arrogance has you just taking the action instead of trying to be too analytical. How many times in your life, like that's the thing about being a child that they have to break you out of. They have to break you out of like, don't think too highly of yourself. Don't think too highly of yourself because you're going to offend other people. The hell with those people then. I need to believe in myself. It's a thin line. You can't really believe in yourself all the way if you're not arrogant. You have to know that you're capable. You have to know that you're capable of doing a task beyond than just you knowing that you could do it or that you've done it before. There's going to be a lot of tasks and a lot of successful things that you need to do in your life that you might not have completely done before, but the arrogance part of it will have you know and believe in that part, and that will take you there. That's the placebo. Well, don't believe in yourself too much. You're gonna offend Uncle Charlie. Uncle Charlie said that you're arrogant. I don't care what Uncle Charlie has to say. Uncle Charlie is broke. And I'm living in the real world. So to go back to what I'm saying is don't attach your identity with being broke. Don't attach your identity with being a starving artist. And don't attach your identity with thinking that everything in your life has to be difficult for you to achieve or get the things that you want. Because that's a lie. And it really does put you in a mindset and a frequency where that's what it is. And then it's hard for you. As a coach, I see this more and more, the truth of this. A lot of these things, it was like me saying these. A lot of this mindset was me saying this stuff for years. But then as I become more of a coach and I see so many people and I'm coaching and talking to 1,000 people, I see that a lot of the things that I say weren't actually theory, it was true, because I'll see a lot of people's mindset where they could gravitate towards success. And it's kind of an lasting loop that keeps coming back to them. And then I see some people whose mindset is of scarcity and the mindset of everything should be challenging or difficult. And then they're stuck in this trajectory, and then their sales reflect it, or their attitude and their business reflects it. Now, another reason why artists and people they stay broke on purpose is because they're thinking about perfectionism, and there's no such thing as perfectionism. Perfectionism just becomes an excuse to not work, to be honest with you. It's an excuse to avoid actual listing and selling work. It's an excuse to. It's kind of like when I make jokes of the gentleman with the polar bear hairs. I'm doing it. I'm showing y'all how I'm doing 1,000 hours of polar bear hairs. Nothing creative, nothing outside the box. It's still one painting, but it's 1,000 hours of me just sitting there with a microscope, looking at the panda bear hairs. And I'm making sure that I don't make a mistake, because if I make a mistake, then people are going to ridicule me and they're going to say that I went to this art school for all these years for no reason, and it was a waste of time. It was a waste of money. So I'm going to make sure. It's kind of like the same premise of when I think of perfectionism. It's kind of like the same premise when people ask too many questions. Hey, should I do this art style? Should I do this art style? What will sell on this? What will sell on that? And it's like, oh, you're just asking for permission not to fail. And I can't, like, we're a business. I'm teaching business here, right? I'm teaching you how to make money. Like, there's no way that you're not going to fail. You're going to fail. That's part of business. And you don't want the sucky part of that feeling of not failing. So then that means that you're going to stay broke. You're going to stay broke if you're scared, if your ego's involved and you're scared of failing, and that feeling of failing. And the reason you're worried about that is because you're worried about what your friends and family and people like that say, because you've been a straight A student your whole life, and being a straight A student, it really sucks where all of a sudden you're a failure. You can like you could get straight A's your whole life. Like, there's a difference between intelligence and educated. There's a big difference between someone who's intelligent with knowledge and someone who has education. Education means that you just memorized a lot of things and you need a book to tell you that the sky is blue. Knowledge could be intuition and knowing so, but also have um, to be inclined enough to want to know more about why, and but also have discernment is a big part. You can't say that you want to make money in this business or any business and you're scared of failure and you're looking for perfection. There's no such thing of it. There's no such thing. I don't want to fail in front of my family. I've been getting straight A's my whole life. So let me do the polar bear hairs. Anytime that I see people who do artwork like that, no offense, I see people who are like, they went to art school and maybe they got straight A's their whole life. I didn't get straight A's in school. I hated school. I was blessed to actually go to some pretty good schools to get a good, decent education. But I never had like straight A's and stuff like that. Now, I was always knowledgeable. I always chase knowledge because knowledge is power. But education is a different thing. A lot of people who got straight A's that I know who are very, very educated, they also have cubicle jobs right now and they hate their lives, but then they're ashamed and they can't tell anybody because if they tell anybody, then that's the ego thing where it's like, usually the people who hated school are the people who actually make money and are more successful. Most millionaires who I'm friends with weren't good in school. You have to have a different mindset. It's a difference, especially in American school. They don't teach you how to be a boss. American school teaches you how to be a slave and to work a job. So a lot of times those people going back into it is like perfectionism. I'm waiting for the perfect moment, the perfect everything. Oh, you sound very educated. Well, my art teacher told me, my this teacher told me. A lot of a lot of the smartest people who I met who are really successful are street smart. Street smart is just a form of reading people, reading the room, and having a strong form of discernment because you have to, because it's life or death. I was blessed enough to have street smart because you got to have a hustle. Perfectionism is an excuse to avoid the pain. And you can't avoid the pain when it comes to business. When it comes to life, you can't avoid the pain. Usually, like that's what makes that's what makes success such a thing to go towards because you have to go through the pain. Like when you see someone who worked on their body, a bodybuilder or somebody who's in shape, they're in shape because you think it was a pleasant thing for them all the time. Most of the time, it was a painful thing of discipline that they had to go through with plenty of mistakes. Are you willing to go through that? No, you're not because you're scared of the moment where somebody tells you that you didn't get an A plus. Most people who are worried about the A plus mindset, they don't really do good in business. And the reason why is because they're scared of the failure part. Because their whole life they were chasing the, well, mommy says, daddy says, compared to the rebellious mindset, be like, I'm going to do what I have to do or what I want. It's a different mindset. Like I said, I noticed this more that I coach. So it's not theory. And I see it all the time. I see it all the time. And I understand the mindset too. I understand when I see it. So real money starts when production and selling it becomes a system and not an emotion. I noticed that too, where people choose to be broke because they're stuck in an emotion or in a feeling. They have a lot of feelings. That's another thing too. Like you're not. It's going to be hard to be successful at if when we're talking about people chasing perfection, but also if you're an emotional person, instead of just having it systems, like I don't have any emotions towards this stuff. I don't care. And that's the best, that's like the easiest thing that I could tell people. Like that's the real cheat code. Really, that's like something that I should be telling the elite community and not putting it on here. But if you're watching this video this far, I might as well just tell you that cheat code. Like if you want to be successful, especially like in what we're doing and or in business, but especially what we're doing, you say to yourself, I don't care. Like I don't care. I really don't. Life is short. I could die tomorrow. Why am I taking any of this stuff serious? Like, the moment that you say you don't care, or whatever, is when this stuff comes to you. What do you care so much for? But sometimes people can't turn it off. They care too much. I'm gonna put another. I'm gonna put another. I'm gonna put another box behind, or another like framing around this one. I just love the framing look. You know me. I noticed that too. That's another. That's like one of the biggest things that I notice when people are broke in 2026. It's like, oh, you care. You care too much. Why do you care so much? If I'm broke and my numbers is messed up, I don't got nothing to lose. It's only when you hit rock bottom that you realize that you're free. You ever have a moment in your life where you finally realize that nobody's coming to save you and nobody cares, or you might have thought that people cared, and you feel like you had this rare moment. Maybe it comes a few times in your life where you're like, nobody cares, it's just you. And then in that moment you're free because you realize, like, whoa, I can do anything. You ever go through a divorce? You ever go through a bad breakup? How did that feel? Those are rare situations that happen in life, right? But we know what it feels like when it's in it. It sucks, but then you know that your back is against the wall and you're free. You feel more human in that moment than you ever have in a long time, compared to being conditioned to sitting down, being comfortable, watching your Netflix and chilling and stuff like that. These are all choices. These are all reasons why people stay broke on purpose. All right, let's put our signature on it. I don't care how great things are going on in my life, or with family life, or um, whatever. I put in my mind, in order for me to be successful, I put in my mind that it could all go bad tomorrow. And then what would I do? How would I need to always be on point. Some people, some people look at billionaires and they go, wow, but if I had all their money, I would quit already. I would relax. I would be on the beach and I would take an easy life and I wouldn't do anything. And well, that's why you wouldn't get to that point either, because it's a mindset that doesn't stop. All right, there's our bear right there. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? Like I don't know how to stop working. Even if I would stop working, I would always be working. I'm never going to retire. I'll have a retirement of something else, from something else, but I'll never retire. There is no retirement. You'll get bored of the beach and vacation in paradise after a while. That's how men die. Men die retiring. All right, let's go on to the next painting. You're supposed to retire and do nothing. As humans, when I say that we're all creators, we're all creators until we die. We're meant to do something. God loves those who work. No one says that you have to still work your 9 to 5 job and things like that. Yes, retire from that and try to have a plan to get out of that. But retirement, you'll never have retirement. There always will be something else that you need to be working towards. That's what's always going to keep you young, keep your mind sharp. You always need to be hustling. That's what we're here for. We're here to work. All right, we got our doggy. Now we're going to do a doggy. Now, on to our next topic. The art world lied to you about making money. The art world lied to you. The art world lied to all of us about making money, and they did it on purpose. The art world told us that we had to go to these art fairs, that we had to wait in line, we had to wait for the gallery to choose us. It's kind of like Hollywood where we get selected from the casting. Well, I'm going to make a bunch of art, and then one day, this really prominent curator, he's going to come by and he's going to see my portfolio. And then he's going to choose me, and then I'm going to have an exhibition, and then all of a sudden, all these oil tycoons are going to come by, and they're going to like my artwork, and they're going to buy it because they haven't seen anything like this before. That's a racket. Just like in 2026, I think that like most art schools are a racket. The only people making money in 2026 from that is the institutions. Just like in 2026, in my personal opinion, I think that college is a racket. It's an institution. It's not like it's the 80s or 70s where you're gonna get hired by a prominent company. You're gonna get found out by a prominent gallery. And those people are broke. A lot of gallery artists now are so broke, and they wish that they could do eBay art, but they're in a situation where they can't because they've already been tapped into the gallery world. And also, some of them might even sign NDAs where they can't even sell their artwork if it's not for the gallery. So they have to wait for the gallery to sell them the art, but the galleries are good on telling them stories. But even if the galleries are closing because the galleries can't keep up and people aren't buying the art like they used to because it's just a different market. So they have to come up with these stories for artists to stay there when they can't even keep their doors open. And it's just crazy because if you're an artist, right, you want to feel good about creating art. That's one of the main things that I like about how I work and how I coach about working, but also about creating more lottery tickets. How can I make money and create lottery tickets if I'm supposed to be a gallery artist and I'm only supposed to be thinking about creating one piece of art, one Mona Lisa or two Mona Lisas a month. And then I have to send it over to the gallery hoping that they can sell it 6 months down the line or whatever. But by then I'm broke and I have no control over it. How can I feel like an artist if I'm doing 1,000 polar bear hairs on one painting for a week, 2 weeks? In comparison to like, I want to come into the studio and feel like a child. This is what we're supposed to be doing it for, right? We're not supposed to be doing it for some people who don't understand how we work. They think that we're a production or we're the factory. When really I think that you're the factory by just working on one painting. I'm a child where I get to come in and at least I get to create. I get to have fun. You wish that you could have fun, but your ego is in the way where you're being humble and you wish that you could have fun and just create, but you can't because you have to be a gallery artist that has to be like, you're so serious and you have to create these Mona Lisas. But you wish that you could just come in and just be a child and say, who cares? I could say who cares and I could just create what I want. Like it's 2026. Galleries are not the only path to selling art anymore. They used to be, but they're not anymore. And neither is Instagram. You don't have to have social media to do what we do. I'm so glad that I was able to get away from social media. Or when I think of social media, I think of like, the big social media things of Instagram or Facebook. Now you don't have to. The thing that I talk about, I give my story where I'm saying I didn't use social media, but if you're still on social media and that's still something that you like to cultivate and you have a following there and you have a fan base or whatever, then yes, of course, still utilize that. I'm not saying for you to go ghost on them, but what I'm trying to say is there's a lot of people out there that also feel like they're tired of playing the rat race game of having to entertain and be an influencer and having to do this and having to do that to sell art. Like you're not an artist, you're a content creator. You're an influencer. Like I say, I show people how you don't have to do that if you don't want to. You don't have to play the game of social media to sell art. You don't have to. I sold 18,000 pieces of art without using social media. I haven't been on Instagram in 6 years. Or Facebook. I haven't been on Instagram or social media or Instagram or Facebook in 6 years. But the thing is nowadays, or the galleries are synonymous with Instagram. You can't be a gallery artist. You can't be a gallery artist without having a Instagram presence. Think about that. You have to also have a strong Instagram presence of social media if you want to be a gallery artist. So that just means right there that just tells you what it's all about. That you also have to be a influencer of sorts. In 2026, those days is over with. You don't have to wait for validation. Validation slows down the artist. It slows down you being most members who are in the elite community and who are up to speed of working are better than any gallery artist that I've walked into over the past 3 years, and more prolific. I have a few members, right, where they get invited back to like do a gallery. Like the galleries actually beg us. That's the crazy part. Now, like we're so prolific, and the only reason we're prolific is the way how I teach how to work. And the galleries are begging now for us to join them because we have more artwork than the artists of who they've been conditioned of how to work over the past years. The gallery artists from the few years ago or from now, they're not conditioned to work like how we work. So the galleries are always more excited to work with us because I talk about dropping the ego of making whatever ugly art in such a quick amount of time or do whatever. But the thing is, I only say that to drop the ego. But what happens naturally after you've been doing this for years, all of the art that you create in such a short period of time, it becomes beautiful because you know how to make it beautiful. You're going to get to that point, and it doesn't take long at all. But then what happens is when the galleries, they see that how we work and they want us to be part of their shows or whatever they're doing, they're always so surprised of how much inventory of work that we have in such a short amount of time. Or members that's in the community, they always tell me like, wow, this show that I did, everybody was surprised at how much work that I have. And then the thing is, you as an artist, you feel good too, because you know that it didn't take you as much time as it took everybody else to create the art. For them, it took them longer because they felt like in their mind that they had to be part of the polar bear hairs group A. And you, in your mind, you come from a different teaching where we do the Corbellic method, and you come from group B, and you know it didn't take you that long. You're like, for me, I got more art pieces than them, and it only took me a month or so. And it's more prolific, and people like it better because it's more loose. Them, it's more it's more tight, and they only have like four pieces. The internet is what we're on now of how we sell art. Rewards lottery tickets. It rewards volume, visibility, and consistency. Like I say, a lot of times when I see these perfect artists who are only focused on the Mona Lisas or the not the lottery ticket way, is because usually they come from the mindset of being straight A students and they want to be perfect. And they don't have the volume because they have to get their book assignment right. You know, that's how they look at these art pieces that take them so long. They look at it like it's a thesis. They have to make sure when they turn their grade in that it's the perfect A plus. Us, we're like, we don't control the grade level. I don't care if it's an F minus. I don't care. I showed up. I don't care if it's an F minus. Who's it an F minus to? Art is subjective. But since art is online nowadays, right? And I think people, the market fluctuated so much over the past 5 years, where people now are a little bit more sophisticated and frugal with their money of how they spend it, even if they get some of it. And people don't want to spend it with these galleries anymore. But also, like I used to say, or like how I do say, is like a lot of the galleries closed because they got found out about that they were mostly money launderers and they couldn't get away with the laundering anymore. But when people are a little bit more sophisticated and frugal with their money, they don't want it to go to a gallery where there's no price, there's no art price, there's no pricing of the art on the wall. And they don't want to go to the curator or to the gallery director and say, how much is this painting right here? Just so the gallery artist could size you up or whatever, and then say, oh, it's $30,000. $30,000 in 2026? How do you explain that? You can't. You're just trying to pay your light bill. You're just trying to keep your business open. And nobody wants to go through that where it's like, okay, you're going to either remind me that I'm broke and I can't afford whatever that performative piece of art is, or I just don't even want to go through the whole process of being like, how much is it? It said it's better for people. They feel better when it's transparent. They go to eBay and they see what the price is. Okay, that's cool. I could deal with that. I could either make you an offer or I can accept it or I could bid up. It just depends on what the art is. And they like that better. You know me, one of the cool things that I talk about, especially when I talked about like I haven't used social media in a while, one of the cool things that I talk about using one of the best parts for me for eBay was that I didn't have to deal with humans too much. I don't have to deal with the game of like too much back and forth. I still have to do negotiations and certain things at certain times, but not as much because it's pretty much transparent. It's a clear shot. It's clear sales. When it comes to the other way, there's just too much games of negotiations and there's too much. And a lot of times A lot of times when it comes to people who like your artwork for free on social media and stuff like that, you'll realize, and I'm pretty sure you already know this already, they're broke. All right, there's two forms. There's two forms, and I can't be upset about it. And I think this is where my mindset has gone. Why it was, for me, eBay was just like the best route. There's two forms. There's people who always say they love your artwork, right? And then when it's time for them to either buy it at half price or any kind of support, they say they don't have it. And then the next week, right? Or the next day, you'll see on their page how they just bought a brand new car or they just went on a vacation in Italy. Now, a piece of you wants to present it and be like, oh, but they told me they were broke or whatever. But also, that's just part of the game where it's like, you also can't be mad at them of the market of what they do with their money because that's their money. But it also shows you of like the mindset of how people are, where it's all about free likes. And it's like, I appreciate you supporting me and you like my stuff, but your support doesn't really help me out when maybe I'm just a starving artist, right? Like it puts you back into the mindset of where people are like, then it puts you back into the mindset of being like, I just asked this person for money so they could buy some artwork that they claim that they liked and they supported me for a few months or maybe even a year, and then they can't even buy none of my stuff. But here they are, they could take vacations to Italy and they could have a brand new car, and I can't buy any of that stuff right now. And it makes me, it reiterates and it goes back into my mind where I'm a starving artist. And it also maybe reiterates, and then you start playing mind tricks with yourself, where it's like, all right, they're going on vacation. I wish I could go on vacation. And while they're on vacation, they just remember that 2 days ago I asked them if they would like to buy some of my artwork, and they know like it's a weird thing. So I don't like to deal with that when it comes to eBay. The credit cards are already there. People are already ready to buy. And I don't have to deal with people with this game of being like, I'm broke, you're broke, I'm broke, you really have the money, you're going on vacation. I can't go on vacation because I'm broke. And I damn sure can't say to you on the page or something to be like, hey man, I like your now it's weird. You're putting likes and hearts on their family vacation picture or their post where they just bought a new car, but they told you they can't afford your painting for $1,000. I don't know how deep in the game y'all are, if y'all experienced anything like that yet. Maybe y'all aren't that deep in the game of having experience with when it comes to being a real gallery artist. These are things that you have to go through compared to just being an eBay artist and creating. So these are things that the art world lies to you about making money. They don't tell you about these stories. They don't tell you about like this type of stuff that you got to deal with. They don't tell you about like if you're signed to a if you're signed to a gallery, how the galleries nowadays they're so broke that they make you either sign an NDA that you can't sell your artwork anywhere else, or that if you do happen to sell your artwork, they take 50% of it. And you should just be grateful for it. You should be grateful. You should be so grateful. You should be grateful that they're only taking 50%. That's how they frame it. Like they were the ones buying your paint. They don't buy your paint. They don't do anything. What they do is they have a nice champagne party that people show up to, and them even themselves they can't control the market, and they have their black book is what they call it, the black book of the collectors. Now eBay has a black book of collectors too, but it's only when you earned it. It's not where it's like they have to gallery. What they don't teach you is that galleries will have their favorite artist who they will promote more and they will send their top clients for. And they can even sign you just to make sure that you are pigeonholed. It's kind of like the music industry, if anybody understands how the music industry works. And these are things that they don't talk about. These are things that they lie to you about. So, like, for example, for people who don't know, the music industry works like this. A label can sign you under a contract just to make sure that you don't put out work because you're kind of like a soft competition for their main artist who they like. So they can put you and make sure that your promotion and things like that are stagnant and that you don't actually get your name out and that you don't do enough work. So that way their main artist can make more money and their main artist can actually that's how they push their main artist. They'll sign you to pigeonhole you. So these are things that art schools don't talk about because a lot of art schools too, the institution of it are tied into the galleries, and they make sure to pigeonhole you so you can't make any money. And then if they find out that you are making money in a way outside of them, they get upset. Or if you even do eBay art or something like they get upset. And then they try to lie and have all these other stories of why they're upset about it. It's because you're making money and you're finding a way out for yourself. Isn't that a cute doggy? Lord, that's a cute doggy. I don't even like dogs, but that's a cute doggy. So these are things that the art world lies to you about making money. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Beautiful. Huh? It's beautiful. The art world is very, very, very similar to the acting world or to any type of entertainment industry. It's the same thing. I live in Los Angeles. I came out here to work in acting over 20 some years ago. Um, and it's the same thing. It's just the industry. The industry is the same. It's the industry, same as music, same as acting, same as Hollywood. It's the industry. It's the same. So if you understand the politics of that from acting or music, it's the same. It's the industry. But the thing is this, once you understand the game, you can't be really upset about it because it's just the game of business. It's the game of life. It's the game of capitalism in America. It's the game of capitalism, period. So a lot of times people don't even understand a lot of concepts when it comes to capitalism and making money. Can't be bad at the game. That's the game. Just because we sell art on eBay, we're still part of an industry as well too, and we still play the game. A lot of stuff that I teach in the elite community is still part of playing the game. We still are part of the machine. We just play it different. We're way more free than people who are. We are way more. You may not realize it. I say it all the time to people. Like, you do not want to trade shoes with a lot of these people who are you think are big artists, big celebrities, big musicians, big actors. We are way more free than they are. So whatever your brokest day is or your lowest sell day is, at least that you're more free than these people. These people aren't free at all. They have to ask permission for them to spend $100, $1,000. They have to go to events and they have to do certain things that you're not contract obligated to do. So always put that in your mind and how you work is that it's easier to work faster and harder that way when you know that anything that after of what you do now is just icing on the cake because at least you're more free than the perception of what you think. Trust me. I've been around all of that stuff. All right, now we're going to go into a bird right here. Now, another thing that the art world lied to you about making money is that direct direct to buyer platforms, it just lets artists skip the galleries and the gatekeepers completely. Like, I always congratulate people when they get their first collector on eBay or their first buyer. I don't day trade. Like, when I got into eBay for real, and here I was coming from the gallery world of being with my ego involved. I wasn't planning on making money the first 6 months to a year because I was happy of just building up. I knew that I had to build myself up. I would study me. I'm the type of person I'd study other competition and I study other people how they're doing stuff. And I would look at other artists or other stores on eBay, and I would see that they had a feedback system where they had so many different feedbacks on there. And I mean, when you're someone, even when you're dealing with eBay, and eBay works as somewhat like an insurance, if you don't know who the person is, they're a great insurance compared to buying directly off of your website because they don't know if you're a degenerate or not. In eBay, you have to earn where you're not a degenerate. So one of the things that people go for is what? They always go for your feedback. And I knew that I had to work my way up to get the feedback to a certain number and earn my collectors. But I knew once I earned the collector, I treat every collector like if they bought $1 million from me. It didn't matter if it was $1, $2, whatever it is. I treated all of them the same because that way I can keep them around. And a lot of my largest contracts, as long as I've kept that mindset, I'm telling you, some of the things that I've sold the smallest on, they came back to me the next week and they've paid a lot of money for things. You never know who these people are. So just because somebody fell in a group where they got something from you off auction, or maybe it was something for a pretty good buy it now or something, you never know who these people are. And they're at different levels and they'll come back and buy art from you. So I always treat every buyer, regardless of what the sell is, like if they purchased $1 million from me. And I have a chance to have a direct buyer relationship that way. Galleries don't. You don't have a direct relationship when it comes to most galleries with whoever the buyer is, because the gallery feels like they own the black book. That's what the galleries really pay for. The galleries own that relationship with whoever the client is, because whoever the client is, they can sell their favorite artist who they represent to that client. Not your artwork, but you on the other hand, on eBay, if you earn that collector, you earn that collector for you. You didn't earn that collector for another artist. You earned that collector for you. And that's always so much more valuable. If you're just coming in here, please make sure you leave a like on the video. Let eBay know that, or let YouTube know that we're doing God's work out here. That we're saving lives around here. We're dropping gems. Now, the next topic is going to be why most artists won't produce 1,000 pieces of art. Not saying that you won't sell it, because you can, especially over your lifetime. You can easily sell over 1,000 pieces of art. It's not difficult. I sold 18,000. But just producing, well, one, it's the most obvious that they don't produce enough artwork. And the reason you don't produce enough artwork is because you're day trading numbers. I always say, and I always will reiterate, I would have never known that I've sold 18,000 paintings until I started my YouTube channel 5 months ago. And I wanted to have a focal point to talk about, because I believe in the work. I don't want to be a coach where I'm just talking about theory. All these other coaches out here are always talking about theory. I can help you with this. I can help you with that. I've helped this person. I've helped that person. But it's like, all right, show me your business, coach. What have you done? None of them could show you where they built anything. They haven't built anything. It's all off of theory. I'm an expert ad advertiser. Nobody's an expert ad advertiser, because the ads are the market, whatever the market responds to. Usually it's just you put out a bunch of ads, and then whatever gets the highest cost or the lowest cost or whatever that gets the most leads, those are the winning ones. You pick those and then you scale it. That's usually how that works. You can't predict that. So it's like, all right, tell me something else. Did you build anything? No, you didn't. So whatever. So I wanted to go off of what have like I made a business. What was the business? Okay, I've sold. And then I looked into it. I was like, whoa, I really sold that many pieces of art. I wouldn't have known that if I day traded the numbers. But also, I wouldn't have been able to create 18,000. Now think about it. I've sold over 18,000 just on eBay. So doesn't that mean that Corbellic actually, I produced way more than that? I probably produced double than that. Think about that. There's a lot of art pieces that I threw away or I gave away, but I wouldn't have been able to do it if I was just always day trading the numbers. There's a a scientific term for what the Spartans, how they used to work. And I think it was called perceived exertion, where they didn't count in how many reps or how many miles they were supposed to do. The reason that they were so efficient is because they worked in rhythms, time, and the flow, meaning that as long as they didn't count whatever the progress was going to be or how far they had to go, then they were able to do more. They were able to push themselves more. And it's the same thing with working out. It's the same thing when it comes to art and business. A lot of times you just have to put the blinders on because you can't control the market anyway. So as long as I'm just putting the blinders on, I'm showing up and then creating, then that's how I'm able to do 1,000 pieces. I mean, 1,000 pieces in my mind is easy, because only thing I would have to do is just put blinders on and not count the steps and how many I got to go. But if I was the type person where it's like, all right, I'm going to do 1,000, and how much longer do I have to do? I wouldn't be able to complete it. Now, the thing that's crazy is I made 18. I sold 18,000 paintings, right? But if you would tell me today to come into the studio and I got to do 30 paintings, or if I got to do 20 paintings, I don't want to do it, and it would be hard for me to do it because you're telling me this mountaintop to do, and I'm looking at it like a whole mountain. I'm looking at it as a whole project, and I don't want to do it. Instead, I had to break everything up into sets and reps. Sets and reps in the flow of what I'm doing, but I work the time instead of the number. When I was doing the worst, not the worst, but when I was in a bad state of mind of business, is because I would try to come into the studio with a mindset to be like, I need to do this amount of number and then the day's over with. I'm going to do 20, I'm going to do 30. For some reason, I either wouldn't never hit the number, or I didn't feel good about the number. It's just one of those things, because I put the number in my mind in order for me to be successful. And then if I didn't hit the number, I feel like I didn't have a successful day when I probably did, instead of me just working the time and working the flow. So a lot of people won't create 1,000 paintings, or they can't produce it because you're day trading everything. And that leads to anxiety of you trying to control. You're trying to control the outcome of life, and you can't. I had a realization where a lot of times we're so anxious and we have so much anxiety, and we put these pressures and things on ourselves, or we feel like life is stagnant or certain things, is because we're always waiting. We're waiting for something good to happen to us. We're waiting for this moment that's supposed to happen. We're waiting like, oh, what is supposed to happen? We're waiting even for the market, right? We're waiting for the market to go sideways. We're waiting for gas to go down. We're waiting for this in life. We're waiting for this opportunity. And then it's like, once I realize it's like I can't control anything of it besides just enjoy the moment, then everything just comes to you. Then you're already blessed. There's no more waiting. Sometimes especially us in America, we're so caught up now into this, like, all right, I'm waiting for something. We're all constantly waiting. Even when it comes to our eBay life, sometimes it's like, all right, I'm waiting for the sales. I'm waiting for this. I don't even know if I'm articulating it right now, but You're able to be more successful and produce more when you just let go and stop waiting. We're always waiting. Stop waiting for these moments. So one of the things I guess I talk about is like how to manifest, or what how I was trained about it. It's not a wishing on a star, but whatever the feeling is of the thing that you want. Because a lot of times you don't, when you're, whatever the thing is that you want to manifest, it's not because it's the material part of it, or even if it is, it's usually about a feeling that you want. You have the material part of it, or you have the success of it. You have the success of 1,000 paintings. What's the feeling that you have inside in that moment? What would it look like? What would it feel like? Your family coming around you, hugging you, you having a nice dinner with them, you taking them on a vacation. Okay, if you went to that vacation and you had that dinner and you showed up with that nice car or whatever, what's that feeling? What does that feel like? Then give yourself permission, instead of you waiting for that day to happen, because you're waiting for that feeling, give yourself permission to feel like that now. Try to practice on that, what I just broke down right now. That's a real way of manifesting and meditation. Though that's a deep mindset. These are millionaire mindset tricks that I'm teaching right now. These are things that they teach in my $10,000 courses. We're constantly waiting for permission to feel success or a certain type of way. I'm waiting for that moment so I can get a good successful day on eBay or whatever it is, just so I can feel this type of way. I want to feel like, you want to feel a certain type of way. It's not just about the gold Rolex. You want to feel a certain type of way, and you want to have people feel a certain type of way around you. So instead, you really have to internalize it and say to yourself that, all right, I give myself permission to feel like that now, even without it. So that way your reality, whatever your reality is now, it's not shaped by what the now is. It's more like in the future. And then that's how you get the thing that you want in the future, by giving yourself permission of now to change your reality or to feel like it. So that's deep right there. Let me know if that makes any sense to you. To a lot of people, the things that I say, if you're not initiated or if you're at a certain stagnant point in your life, some of the things that I say, I know it doesn't make sense to you. And y'all be like, oh, Corbellic, you're rambling, or you're saying stuff that because you're not initiated yet. It doesn't make sense to you yet, but it will. Because the things that I'm saying is like, I'm dropping $1 billion gems on you. Mindset. People don't become billionaires and millionaires off of happenstance. It's a mindset to how to get there. But this all goes into what I'm saying about producing 1,000 paintings. Give yourself permission to feel like you already created 1,000 paintings, and whatever that feeling is anyways that you're looking for. Give yourself permission to have it now, and then that's how you'll have it. The thing that helped me out a lot, because I was always consciously like, I would feel anxious, and because I was always like waiting for something to happen or waiting for whatever the success of or anything in life. And then I said to myself, all right, this is what I'm going to do. I'm just going to focus on showing up, because it's a blessing that I get to show up anyways. And then what's going to happen by me naturally working that way and not me waiting and giving myself permission to feel successful now, what's going to happen is time can't stop anything. Nothing can stop the pendulum swing. You can't always keep energy down. There's a positive and a negative, and you can't always keep a negative. Things in life always don't stay at a negative. So as long as I show up, I'm producing, and I'm giving myself permission to feel successful now that I've already did 1,000 paintings or whatever. Then eventually tomorrow or whenever it is in God's timing, then that feeling is going to happen anyways. It's going to be here quicker. A lot of times in life, when you're waiting and waiting and waiting and you don't give yourself permission to feel that success or feel whatever you're going to do, you know, the crazy part is you end up dying and you don't never get to that point where you can feel that thing, that successful moment, that daydream in your head. You don't ever get to have it. If you're waiting, then you're always going to be waiting. But the moment that things come quicker, have you ever noticed in anything in your life, the moment that you're able to get the things that you want, or the moment that you're able to get that phone call back, that phone call back is that when you stop stressing over it and be like, whatever, I'm just gonna continue on with my life. When you continue on with your life, everything comes for you. But that's another thing about how they also teach manifestation and how to produce 1,000 paintings. They say that you have to be nonchalant about having it and not having it. That's the real thing. Like I'm not waiting anymore. I'm fine if it comes today, if it comes tomorrow, or if it comes next week. I know it's eventually going to come because I'm already doing the actions in place every single day for it to happen. But whenever it happens, it happens. Whatever. I'm not going to try to control when it's going to happen anymore. Then it happens quicker. And that's a great mindset as well too, where it's like success could be off of small things of which you have in your life that you're already successful for. Whereas like if you can spend time with your kids, if you can have a lunch break where you get to do work and just breathe easy, maybe have a cup of coffee and not have any stress, feel like you have to be somewhere, or just have people in your life who love you and support you. That's the success right there. And you're like, anything else is just, I'm not going to wait for anything else. I don't need to be like, I need to be rich right now. As long as you're doing what you're doing and you're not thinking about day trading the numbers and all that, it's going to come to you. Can't control it. As soon as you stop trying to control it. Look at our bird right there. Just a quick bird. I'm just showing you how to knock these paintings out, all right? Like, we're just creating lottery tickets. So I guess in short, here I'm giving too much. I gave too much philosophical mindset on that one because it's deeper than just 1,000 paintings. I'm just talking about success. But if we want to really go back into the art, like most artists, they treat art like it's a rare event instead of it's a daily output. There's no systems in place. Many rely on followers instead of like the marketplace, the lottery tickets of what we talk about. I love that. I love that. You simplified it for me. You said the less that you think about the process, the quicker that the process comes. Thank you. That's what I'm trying to say. Thank you for simplifying that for me. I appreciate you. The less that you think about the process, the more that the process comes for you. Or I always say, like, remember when you were younger or something, right? And there was a relationship that you really liked, or somebody that you really liked, and the more that you thought about it, the more that you kept it into your heart, the more you're wondering what's going on, what are they doing? Let me call them, or this, that, the other. The more that you push these things away, and the more it doesn't happen. But the more that you're nonchalant and you don't care, and you're just like blah, 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 the more that the process comes to you, and it comes quicker. Life happens that way with everything: painting, relationships, success, money. A lot of times, it's the craziest thing. The more that you think about things and the more that you want it and the more that your attention span is towards it that way, the more that you don't get it. You're pushing it away and then it never happens and you're always waiting. You always have this feeling of anxiety. That's one of the actual hidden money secrets that I have written inside the elite community, where um, anxiety and day trading or always checking the status of a process will push it away and it'll never happen for you. Instead of giving yourself permission that it's already happened, then it happens. Then like here, I've been waiting for something for years for it to happen. It never happens. But then the moment that I'm like, you know what? I'm so tired of waiting. I'm done with that. The moment that you actually give yourself permission in your heart, how many times have y'all had that happen where you're like, you're fed up with something. You don't wait no more. Then the next day, that thing that you've been waiting on, it happens. Once you actually gave up on it, or not gave up on it, but you're just like, whatever. Discerning Light said, it's just like driving a stick shift. It's harder to teach by explaining versus doing it. Yeah, thank you, Discerning Light. I feel like I was going crazy here. Like, what's wrong with my words today? Why won't my mouth work right? Thank you, Discerning Light. I'm like, how come my mouth's not working right with my brain? Normally, I'm pretty good on, but some things that I keep in my mind about success and about like how things work. It's very difficult, especially if you're not part of the initiated. It's very hard to understand some of the things I talk about because it's a mental thing, and some people are mentally not, you know. But another reason why artists won't sell 1,000 paintings or produce 1,000 paintings is the consistency. The consistency over the years, it compounds, and it compounds without you even thinking about it. It's not about, I always think about what Arnold Schwarzenegger says. He said a very famous quote, and it just stuck to me because it was so true. Like for him, he's a bodybuilder or whatever, right? Or he was, or he is. And he said for him in life, everything became sets and reps. Like he's had an impressive run in his life. From being a foreigner to working out, to being a movie star, to being a governor, to, you know, whatever. And he says he says everything when it comes to success, it's not about the whole Mount Everest of it, because you'll never, if he would have thought to himself about being a movie star and governor, it never would have happened. He said everything was in sets and reps. Like he would break things down. So that's how I think of it. But I break things down in time, how we're working in the time, and then it compounds overnight. I always say a lot of times, you don't become a millionaire because you really had that in your mind of like what the plan was going to be a million. You become a millionaire very easily by you just showing up, and the small steps, it compounds. Everything compounds off of just the small stuff. And then all of a sudden you look at your bank account, or you look at something else in your life, and you see how it all compounded. Every week, the small steps, the small little things, they compound. And then all of a sudden, you know that you'll have 1,000 paintings. All right, check this out. Hold on. Let me turn this off here. Check this out. All right. I made a recent video talking about this same thing where we talked about 1,000 paintings, producing 1,000 paintings, selling 1,000 paintings. To the uninitiated, it sounds like a lot of paintings. It sounds crazy. But think of it this way, how we talk about it in the community. We got people who already did past that in such a short period of time. Because you're talking about this. Imagine if you do 20 paintings a day, right? 20 paintings a day, like you'll get to a point where that's nothing. Especially how I teach you how to work the time with the timers, and you have your ego out of the way. 20 paintings is whatever. Now imagine you do 20 paintings a day, and let's just say you do that Monday through Friday, right? You already have 100 paintings right there, all right? So if you already have 100 paintings right there, then you only have to have 10 weeks. So you got 2.5 months. You got 2.5 months for you to already produce 1,000 paintings. It's only going to take you 2.5. So think about this. I've been doing eBay for 7 years. You don't think that in a year or so that you've already produced more than 1,000 paintings? 1,000 paintings will be like nothing for you. You've already produced and sold it. But to the uninitiated, for them, it sounds like a miracle or something. Shoot, there was a point in time in my eBay career I'm doing 1,000 paintings in a week. Or close to. Definitely 1,000 listings. These are the type of mindsets that you need to be on. And then once you're on that mindset and you do it, or you commit to yourself at least to order that many canvases, it puts you in a total different mindset. What I need to start teaching, if I haven't already, is that if you want a real life trick, especially when it comes to art, if you want to produce fast, if you want to produce more, already put yourself in the game already of like committing and order 1,000 canvases already. You're already going to graduate yourself automatically by doing that. You're going to graduate yourself to a higher game. I always tell people in business and life, like, if you want to, the fastest way to become successful or to have to get your weight up is to graduate yourself automatically. Like, you have no choice. Like, buy the weight. For anybody who's new here, we have a joke where we talk about the analogy of like Michaels and Hobby Lobby is like the cartel. It's just a mindset. It's a fun thing where it's like, think of them like eBay's another part of the cartel. And it's like, get your weight up all the way. There's people who wanted to get in the game. And now that you're in the game, like, put yourself in a situation where there is no turning back. That was the thing in order for me to make the money. I had to do it because now my bills are at this level because I put myself in at this level. A lot of successful people who I'm around and who I talk to, I noticed that a lot of them are, they're hustlers, right? But they're also lazy, where they won't do things unless their back is against the wall. And I'm the same way, where you have to force yourself and put yourself in a situation where your back is against the wall, or your bills, or you have certain overhead or expenses that's this high because you already graduated yourself this high. You put yourself at this echelon. Now you have to produce at this level. You have no choice. So then once you start producing at this level, 100,000, 200,000, $1 million is going to seem normal for you. A lot of times people already normalize, well, if we go back to lesson number 1, they normalize the being broke on purpose. So they keep themselves down here. You keep your expenses low, you keep yourself low, you keep your head low. You go out in public and you put your head down. You don't want to be seen because you want to be humble. Nah, you need to graduate yourself, graduate your life. Get your weight up. That way you have no choice but to hit these numbers. Like, you'll start saying to people and they won't even understand. You'll be like, I have to hit these numbers because my overhead, my cost is this high. I gotta do this just to run my factory. The next topic is stop chasing perfection. There's no such thing as perfection. This is a topic that really kills me, or that really it kills me, and I'm passionate about it. There's so many times that we're waiting for these perfect moments that will never, ever, ever happen. And you have to stop trying to be perfect. I made a video about this yesterday inside the free art community. I said that nobody is coming to save you. Stop trying to be perfect. Start now. No one's coming to save you. The moment that you realize that, the moment that you're free. When you feel like in life that you have too many options and that maybe you still have those boats to go back to. Remember, we always talk about burn the ships from the conquistadors. Who said that? Burn the ships. There is no going back home. If you feel like you have too many options to go back to, then you're not going to perform. But there is no perfection. That's why they always say beginner's luck. There is no such thing as beginner's luck. It's just that the beginner didn't analyze, the beginner wasn't like you trying to be a straight A student and write out a whole thesis first before they put their foot in the warm water. No, they just put their foot in the warm water first. They are already smarter than you in the first second by putting their foot in the warm water. You spent 5 months uh, uh, researching so many YouTube videos and so many different things and writing out a math equations and getting your straight A paper that you have to turn into the teacher first, wait for the teacher to grade you, and then tell you that the water is warm. Compared to, there is no perfection of you just showing up and doing the work, and then you find out through the mistakes that way. That's how real business is formed. That's how I form my businesses. That's how most people form their businesses who are successful. Now, you still have to have a form of intelligence, right? Or you still have to be resourceful, and you have to be able to pivot with the changes. You have to be able to pivot with the market. But the real intelligence is that you'll figure it out along the way. If you build it, they will come. This is how I build my businesses. This is how I build everything, is that there is no perfection. I build everything in my life very fast. This is how I was taught from my mentors who are multimillionaires, is that success comes in speed, not being analytical and trying to have everything right, because then you just look like you're scared of failure. And then what comes from it, what comes from that is that you'll be able to know, you have real life data. A lot of people are like waiting for the perfect moment of things so they can get their data points, and then I'll learn how to not be a failure. You're scared of making a mistake in front of people. You have to commit. That's one of the things that we were taught in acting, right? Back in the day, is commit. I always tell this story. The best actors out there are usually people not that they're great actors, or this is how we were taught with directors, is that they're not necessarily the greatest actors and all that. It's just that they were brave enough to at least make a choice. Usually the best actors, the ones who get acknowledgement or whatever in their career, they might be crappy actors, and most times I think that they are, but the thing that makes them special is that at least they made a choice of what they're doing. And it could have been the wrong choice, the right choice. Eventually it becomes the right choice because you make so many different choices, even if they're right or wrong, that they become the lottery ticket, and then you have more lottery tickets out there compared to you being like, I'm scared to make a choice, so I'm not going to make a choice at all. Or everything has to be the right choice because my teacher told me. All right, let me see here. Let me read off of here. We have any super chats to read? Any super chats? No super chats? All right, then back to work. I remember I was struggling with this for a long time, and I remember I was struggling. There was a point in my eBay business I was struggling. I tell this story all the time because it's a true story. And then I went to sleep, and I had this dream, this vivid dream, and it was this artist in the industry, somebody who I don't even particularly like. I'm not going to say the name, but there's somebody who is supposed to be like the successful person in the industry, and they said to me, the genius lies in the speed, because with the speed you make the mistakes, and the mistakes is where you're able to make the genius points that people think are genius, that people think is genius, because you're working in speed. So you make these happy mistakes pretty much. They didn't tell me happy mistakes, but that's pretty much what it is. That's where Bob Ross talks about the happy mistakes, because you're only able to find the genius by doing things that you didn't consciously plan for. The genius lies in who we are, and it's already there. That's where you're able to find God at. You're able to find God by making your mistakes and being confident and comfortable with it. You're over here trying to be too sophisticated and outwork God, where it's like the stuff is already there, and just let it happen, whatever it is. And you have to work with the speed. When you work with speed, you'll see there'll be certain mistakes that happen that are mistakes, but these are things that you didn't plan for. A lot of times when you try to plan for stuff, um, the beauty of things don't happen. A lot of times when people see gallery art, or when they see art that they think is genius, they only think is genius on the stuff that is a mistake or things that they didn't plan for. A lot of times, even in, it doesn't matter, even if it's art, music, but it's especially art, painting, but I'm saying music or acting. A lot of times the collector, what they might think is, wow, that was really genius. They think it's genius because they've never seen it before. It's something different. And the reason they haven't seen it before and it's something different is because the artist, when they did it, when they were creating that music part, or when they were creating that piece of art, they didn't plan for it. And the reason they didn't plan for it is because they were working in speed. They weren't thinking of perfection. That's why you have a lot of artists who get strung out on drugs. They get strung out on drugs because they're using it to not be in their mind. And when they're on drugs, they're they're making their happy mistakes. They're making things to let go of their conscience. Because their conscious mind wouldn't be able to let go of the ego and make those happy mistakes. Petite Flowers, I appreciate you. Thank you for joining as an elite member in the YouTube community. I appreciate you. Oh, mentioning, I forgot. Let me do this real quick. But there's no such thing as perfection. Here you go. Let me pin this. Boom. There we go. All right, I just pinned a message in there, so that way you can join the elite community if you're not already a part of the elite community, so you can see how you can do this for yourself, how you can create art really quick. We work off the projector here. Everything is built out for you. I mean, it's very simple. Like everything, we have everything where you could just have a copy and paste the download and you can put it into your store. You don't have to be tech savvy. Everything is mapped out for you. We have a supportive community. So this isn't just some coaching thing where you go in there and you got to do homework all by yourself, because that is so boring. Like this is more where you have a community where you can see everybody who's gone through the same steps that you're going to go through, and you can ask any question. Hey, how do I do this? But also, you're not going to be lost where it's like you just have to start and you don't know where it goes. As soon as you start, you have a 14-day orientation. So each day I have you do small things. But by the time that you're done with your 14-day orientation, what happens very quickly, you already have full listings up on your eBay store, and more than likely you will have your first sale. Most times you will have your first sale after the 14-day orientation. It happens very quickly. So if you're not part of the elite community already, join the elite community. Click the link. It's in the chat. It's pinned there, and you can go there and check it out. All right, back to work. Back to work, back to work. What were we talking about? We were talking about perfectionism, right? Buyers often care more about emotion than technical perfection. But I mean, even that, I think people are, that's why we talk about the polar bear hairs. People trying to be so perfect in what they think art should be. People actually, like, we're so brainwashed into thinking, and I was one of them too. Like I was doing art as a kid, but I was just doing intuitively where I was just wanting to create. I didn't go to art school. But the reason that made me stop doing art is because they told me, like, high school, and then like, yeah, they told me like high school, in order for me to be an artist, I had to start doing, like, you had to get an A+ in it, you have to do like technical stuff, and I didn't want to do technical, and I didn't have anybody who was smart enough at the time to say, you know what, it doesn't have anything to do about technical, because maybe you're a great artist where you just go off of emotion and something that's naturally inside of you, instead of, can you draw the Mona Lisa? Can you draw her face to perfection? And I didn't want to do art like that where I got to really like start spinning out, because then it's like, it's boring to me. I'm the type of person where I don't want to sit down. Like I said, I didn't do good in school. And it's not because I'm not intelligent. It's just because I don't want to, I'm not good at like just sitting down for 8 hours and focusing on one thing at a time and read this book on how the sky is blue. I already know the sky is blue. Like I always felt like I was smarter than all my teachers. So I had a problem with that. Petit Floral says, sold a painting in the first 6 days of the elite program. The program works. I appreciate that. Yeah, that definitely. As long as you follow everything along the way, and you don't have arrogance in your life, but don't have arrogance in the program, and then you'll be successful. Some people skip steps or different things like that, and then it throws their number off, and then they have to start from scratch or work with me on a one-on-one so I can figure out what your store is looking like and I can look at your numbers. Also, if you're a part of the elite community and you want me to look at your store, you want me to audit it, schedule a one-on-one meeting with me and I'll audit your store, and I can tell you what you need to work on. I can tell you what your routine needs to be, what your schedule needs to be, and I can fix your scale, your sales very, very, very quickly, because everybody's store is different. So it's like a lot of the advice is not universal, because it just depends on what you're doing. It depends on what your promotion rate is. It depends on how you're implementing things. It's just different. I have to look at your store, but it doesn't take me long to look at your store to figure out what you need to do. But what I always say when it comes to perfection in eBay is that I don't have to like it. I just need to get it done. I don't have to love it. I just need to get it done. And another thing that I say is that I go into the studio and I say, "Hey, today I'm going to create 100 paintings. I'm going to create 1,000 paintings today, and hopefully I like one of them. Hopefully I like one of them." If you go in with that mindset, you're going to be successful. Where it's like, I'm going to create 1,000 paintings today, and hopefully I like one of them. That means that you don't have to like any of them. You just have to get it done. Finish and listed. It always beats perfection and unlisted. There's been days where my numbers, right? There's been days. I mean, let's be honest in here. Come on, let me know. Let me know in the comments right now. How many of y'all who have been part of the elite community where you had days when it's the nighttime, it's 7 p.m. and it's auction night, and you wish that you could go back in time 10 days ago and actually just produced more art so you could have more cha-chings going on compared to dang. You look at the thing and and your party's already over with. Your party's over with at 4 sales. You only sold 4 for that night. You only sold 5 for that night or whatever it is, and the party's over with. And there's a piece of you in your mind that's like, dang, I wish that I had more art that was going out so I could have had more lottery tickets. Those are the feelings that I had. Those are the things that's how I think about art. I'd rather have where they were whatever the art was. I'd rather have I'm not thinking about the Mona Lisa. I'm thinking about, dang, I wish that I had more lottery tickets tonight that was going out. Now it's like I have to either wait for tomorrow's numbers, hopefully tomorrow's numbers. I have more that's there. Here in my mind 10 days ago, I felt like I was showing up to work, but actually I didn't show up to work because I don't have that much cha-chings going on tonight and there's no more auctions going on. I always said to myself, I don't care about the Mona Lisas. I'd wish that tonight I had just more quantities. I would have more paintings going out. Petit Floral says it's hard as an artist to create art for collectors. We view the art differently than the person who purchased it. Because of the institution, I believe collectors were buying perfect art. Yep, exactly. And they don't know. So I'm like, there is no perfect. The only perfection is me showing up and me putting the numbers in. Because what happens is with the numbers, and when I can't control what the numbers are going to be, they're going to buy more. They're going to. I'm either going to gain a new collector, and they're going to buy more buy it now items from me. They're going to buy I'm going to have a chance of them. I'm going to have a chance of selling a buy it now painting for a higher price, or I'm going to have a chance of just making more on the um, combined shipping. Me, I always put it in my mind like I'm giving myself the snowball effect where it's going to be bigger and bigger for each day. I'm giving my chance for it to be bigger and bigger each day for tomorrow. So even if I had a lot of cha-chings going on tonight, I'm putting in my mind where it's really for tomorrow's build up, tomorrow's party. I don't care about the Mona Lisas. The Mona Lisas put me in debt. The Mona Lisas made me broke. And that's my ego. And I can't blame anybody for that but me. Because here I'm thinking that I could just create this. I know what the market wants. I'm Corbellic. I'm smart. I know about art. I'm the artist. What do they know? Quantity, it increases the chance of the right buyer finding you. All right, there's that painting right there. Our quick flower. Beautiful, beautiful flower, right? We knock these out. We knock these out really quick. The reason why, we get the right buyer a chance to buy this, and then it goes on to another buyer. These are free commercial promo tickets for me. And then the thing that happens that I don't talk about enough, and I guess I should, the reason why I create the way that I do and I teach the way of painting the way that I do without perfection is because what happens naturally is that you'll end up getting perfect. You'll end up getting better than the people who do the polar bear hairs and the other art. You'll be able to be a better artist by working faster. Momentum in production, it builds confidence and skill naturally. That's where the confidence is going to come from. The confidence is going to come from you've already doing the work. I'm not thinking about being perfect because that's going to naturally come. There was a study that was done in an art school where they took two groups. Group A was produce the prettiest painting that you can in a month, Mona Lisa's. Group B, produce as many paintings as possible by the end of the month. Then what happened, Group B ended up producing prettier art than Group A because Group A was so analytical and trying to get a A plus on their assignment and make the best painting that they would keep erasing. They would keep trying to do this. They would keep like going back and forth and being perfect. They didn't get a chance to make the happy mistakes where the genius lies at. And then Group B, who was just producing the most and they can make as many ugly paintings, what happens through time and momentum, they were able to build the confidence to create the beautiful stuff naturally. Naturally, that's how you become better. You become better by you naturally having the confidence where you created so many of them. So it's like a lot of the things that I talk about, it's kind of like I always say with Mr. Miyagi, wax on, wax off. You may not understand the reason of why I'm saying the things that I'm saying, but it's like a whole bundle of things. It makes you better as an artist. It also gives you more momentum. It gives you more speed. It gives you more inventory. It gives you more lottery tickets. But it also makes you naturally better than the gallery artist. That's why I said as long as you stick with this. I mean, we have artists who's never painted before, and they're just phenomenal. They're phenomenal artists because we're all naturally creative. We're all naturally artists. We're all naturally creators. And it just comes with you more with speed, the more that you work it and you have confidence into it. That's anything in life. Working in speed, not waiting for perfection. When they told Picasso how many paintings that he's done, and they asked him how he was able to do it, and they asked him about motivation or inspiration, he said he didn't believe in that. He said that it always, for him, he said that the action was first. The action is the speed. He didn't wait for a perfect time for him to feel like doing the work. He said that the action came first and then the motivation and all that other stuff finds you. And it's so true. I always say the analogy, it's just like working out at the gym. No one wants to go to the gym to work out, but once you're there and you're like, just say to yourself, you're going to do one push-up. Nobody just does one push-up. Once you're already there and you're on the ground, all right, I could do 5. All right, I could do 10. Now you're already there, and then the motivation, the inspiration finds you to keep going, to want to do more because you're already there. I always say to people, if you want to work out or something like that, just tell yourself that you're going to do one 1 mile or 1 footstep, or just do 50 footsteps. When you do that, you're going to keep going. I have to give a I have to give a plug and a shout out. Normally I don't, but I have to. Like I have to give a shout out to Lee in the elite community. I mean, she says that she hasn't painted before. And at times I find it hard to believe. Like her artwork is phenomenal. But the reason that it's phenomenal is because she's working the program, she's working the time, she's producing without the ego. She burned her ships. And you can see it in the artwork, the evolution. And that's how it's supposed to be. That's how it is for everybody. The genius is already inside of you. And if you just look at her artwork, like if you're not part of the elite community, you got to join just so you can see her artwork. Phenomenal, phenomenal stuff. I mean, you know, Lee, a lot of that stuff, you of course still work the auction, but you got to put a lot of that stuff into the buy it now, make it onto larger canvases. Kind of like I have this, you can also buy in bulk 18 by 24s. 18 by 24s, I think it comes 3 in a box. But this is an 18 by 24. You can see how much larger it is. So this is an 18 by 24. Some of that stuff, some of that artwork you have, put it on 18 by 24s, put it into the buy it now. This stuff will sell, especially with the program of how you and I create it. But I'm just proud of that because that's the mindset right there. That's how it works. When you work it, you have Group A who was trained to focus on the Mona Lisas, and then you have Group B who produce. Don't think about the process, and then the process naturally comes to you. You become better by you not focusing on the process and you just showing up and you're doing the number. Awesome, awesome stuff. All right. Let's get on to this birdie. Now, the next topic is that your art is not the problem. A lot of times people, when they don't hit a certain number or a certain metrics of what they're thinking, it's so easy to get conditioned into thinking that it's your art that's the problem. And I know it's going to take you a while. It's going to take you a while to get out of that mindset, especially if you haven't been doing it for a while, because you're going to be thinking like certain pieces. Say for example, you try to experiment and you do certain paintings or a certain theme, and it doesn't sell the way that you want it to. You're going to be thinking that it's your art style, or you're going to be thinking that that theme is just not good enough, and it's not that. It could just be the market at that time, or it could be just wrong timing, wrong structure. You don't know. So there's a lot of paintings, for example, that I've painted numerous of times. And the reason why is because I understand how the market fluctuates, where it's not about my painting, it's not about my talent or anything like that. It's just God's timing or the market. So for example, I say that to be like, there's paintings that I've done and maybe it sold for a not amount that I wanted it to, or a low amount or whatever. I can't control that. Like I said, that's why I don't day trade the numbers. And then and then a month later or a week later, I create the same damn painting, and then it sells for $100 on auction. Now, what's the difference? There is no difference. It's the same painting. It's just the timing. So a lot of times it has nothing to do with your art. And it's hard for me to say that to you because a lot of times we're so conditioned into thinking that We're so conditioned to thinking that a certain painting that we did, nobody wanted it, or it's oh, that's I'm not going to paint that again. It has nothing to do with that. Also, a lot of times too, it's your strategy. Most artists, they create work without like a clear plan, a clear strategy. So like the uninitiated, when they don't know how we sell art and they don't know what's being taught inside the community, they don't have a strategy. It's easy for you to watch my videos on YouTube and be like, oh, okay, well, I'll just go off of what Corbellic says and I'm going to sell art on eBay. It's not that easy. There's a whole strategy. There's a whole game plan of things that you need to do. And a lot of times it's just your strategy. So that's why I always talk about, if you feel like you're in a stagnant situation or you're not selling enough auctions, you're not selling enough buy it now items, if you're at a stagnant situation, I always tell you it's beneficial for you to set up a one-on-one meeting with me for an hour so I can look into your store. I can go into the screen of your store and I can see what you need to change on the promotions. I can see what you need to change into your consistency. Because it's not your art. Your art is beautiful. It's just how you set your store up and your game plan. Or you don't have a game plan. Or a lot of times it could just be the blind leading the blind. And I see that happen a lot too. You don't know what you don't know. The purpose of having a coach in business is not to say that you can't get there eventually along the way yourself, but then by that time, you've already spent 5 years, thousands of dollars, and lost it. And then it's up to you, even if you're someone who's persistent enough to even keep pursuing at that point. Most people just drop out. The reason to having a coach is to make sure that you have a shortcut in such a short amount of time. Every successful person, millionaire, billionaire, they have a mentor, they have a coach. And it's not to say that they're not a persistent person, that they can't do it. It's to have a shortcut in an amount of time. I'm pretty sure if you watch enough videos on YouTube about how to do plumbing, that you can fix whatever the thing is. But isn't it just beneficial on your house and on your time to hire a plumber? How long would that take you? Your whole day? And how many mistakes? Something costly? How many times would you have to keep going back and forth to Home Depot to buy a part that you thought you needed, but it's the wrong size, it's the wrong... How many times would you have to keep recreating your account? If you do these things wrong, you could get your account suspended. You could damage your business. So I always say that it's not your art that's the problem. It's your strategy, or it's your business arrogance into thinking that you have it figured out, but you don't. Or not wanting to come up with a strategy. Your pricing and presentation of how of the art and where it's positioned at can make more of an impact than the painting itself. It's no different than even gallery artwork. The positioning can make more of an impact. The pricing. the strategy of your pricing compared to other pricing of your store. Your promotion, where it's placed at, what page that is placed at. Consistent, consistent listings, they create a steady buyer of traffic. A lot of times people go certain about their store, right? And then I drill into their store and I see that it's a consistency problem. It's not even your art, it's just a consistency problem of you not showing up. You can't complain about sales, right? But then it's like if I look at your store and you got 3 days off, like listings haven't been, there's no auction party that's been going on for, like, you have 3 days off on your store. And then you always start on, you start off, you start on, you start off. Oh, I took a break. I'm gonna come back to it. You get back to it. 2 weeks go by. You took another break. All right, I'm gonna get back to it. eBay doesn't work like that. There's too many people of them to reward instead of you being inconsistent. You're not even giving the algorithm enough chance or enough time to figure out what you're about, or you're not even building up your feedback loop yet to have them figure out what you're about. It becomes easier once you become more consistent and at least let the algorithm understand who you are and what you're about. But you're not even giving it enough chance to do that. So I see a lot of stores and I'm like, well, I can see what the problem is already. You're not being consistent. We got to work on a schedule together to get you consistent. Or at least I could figure out a way for you. I could show you a way in your store to give you a leg up, to give you some breathing room so you can catch your way up. So that's another thing too. Like schedule with me, and I will be able to show you how you could at least get some wiggle room in the meantime, some breathing room, while still being consistent. When you have strategy, it turns creativity into a repeatable income system. It's like that's why I call it the snowball effect. And once you have the snowball effect, it's inertia. Inertia is only difficult at the beginning if you have to keep starting all over. That's why I always talk about, what's the other analogy that I always talk about? I always talk about the water well. That damn water well is always difficult only at the beginning when you keep pumping and pumping and pumping. It's so difficult, not because it's the energy is any different. The energy of pumping the water is no different than when the water is there. The thing that makes it so difficult is that you don't see the water yet. It's so difficult to keep pumping that well. It's the same inertia, the same energy, the same calories spent. The thing that makes it so difficult is that you don't see the water yet. And you need to have a system in place where you're consistent. You need to have a system in place where you're consistent before seeing the water. And then once the water comes, it's still the same inertia, the same energy spent. But now you have the actual confidence and it feels better. I'm telling you, eBay becomes so much easier once you're consistent and you actually have a system. Give it a chance to learn your store, to learn your consistency and who you are, and that you're not a degenerate. It's just like running ads. If anybody has experience of running ads is always difficult the first week. You're going to be spending some money. You know, if you're gonna run ads and you want it to be successful, be prepared that the first week or so it's going to be expensive. But then after that, the system is learning who you are, and then it becomes easier. It's like anything in life. I've sold so many paintings on eBay now where I don't even have to, it's so easy for me. I don't have to work it like that. It's like passive income because the system already knows who I am. Now it's like at times I get sales even when I don't want it. Ain't that a trip? I know that sounds crazy, but so don't ever get down on yourself thinking that your art is the problem. It's not. I promise you, it's not your art at all. You make phenomenal art. Your art is beautiful, but it's also easy to get your ego bruised a little bit and think that your art is the problem. Or when I'm saying art as well, I'm saying like your theme of whatever you're painting. It's easy to think that the theme is the problem, and it's not. A lot of times it's either the market or it's just the systems in place. There's other things. You win some, you lose some. Not everything's a slam dunk. And the stuff that we don't think is a slam dunk, somebody else is going to think it's a slam dunk. They're going to think it's the best. All right, I'm done with this painting. Let me put my signature on it. Boom. There's our birdie right there. Look at that. Isn't that nice? There's our birdie. I like it. It's our nice birdie. It's another birdie. Let me get another piece of wax paper. I got these things everywhere in the studio. All right, now we're on to the last painting. All right. Don't know what it's going to be, but we're going to have fun with it as we always do. All right. I think we had perfect timing today. Boom. All right. This one we're going to do another doggy, but this one's going to be more like pop art. All right. We're gonna pump this out. This is gonna be a punk rock pop art dog. And then our last topic, which is funny but true. And I mean, this is just humans in general, but Most artists, they hate hearing the truth. Man, do they hate hearing the truth, right? It's so hard to give constructive criticism, not just artists. I mean, I guess that's just a human thing, but especially for artists, because artists are so sensitive. Artists are so sensitive. You know, you got to do it this way. You got to do it that way. Like online buyers, they care more about accessibility than availability. Regular listings, you being regular, you being consistent, it relays a message that you're reliable, you're relatable, reliable and relatable. There's a party going on every night. See, good thing for me, I get paid to be a coach and to tell the truth. But if you're not in the real life, then you already know that it doesn't benefit you to try to give your friends or family or anybody advice. Be of the age where don't do it. It's not even worth it because people hate hearing advice, especially artists, or they hate hearing the truth. The guy, you need to produce art. You need to actually work. You need to show up. Artists hate hearing that. A lot of artists hate hearing that, or I'll get people who are the uninitiated who will either come into a comment and I'll see it rarely. It's rarely these days, but it still happens where they're uninitiated and they think that they don't have to work. What do you mean? What do you mean I have to work? What do you mean I have to show up and I have to produce art? Well, yeah, it's not a get rich quick scheme. If it was, then I'd just be a con man, a guru trying to sell you some get rich quick scheme. And it's not. You have to show up and drop your ego and produce art. Well, when you say that I gotta produce art, I mean like how many? Can you actually tell me like a total number? How many is the total number for me to produce every single day for me to get $1 million? You know, that type of mindset right there is like you don't want to hear the truth. And then I'm always facetious when I hear stuff like that. I'm like, all right, you have to show up in the studio every single day and you have to produce 1 million pieces of art then. Now, of course, like we don't have to produce 1 million pieces of art or 1,000 pieces of art every day or 100 pieces of art. But the mindset is that my mindset is when I'm saying these things is that you have to work. And why is that such an offensive thing to say to artists these days? It's offensive to them because they've been trained and conditioned that you could be a lazy artist by getting an A plus by just focusing on the polar bear hairs. She's very beautiful. And then that's it. That's all I have to focus on. Now tell me I'm a good person, give me my gold star. I don't have to work. No, you have to work. You have to drop your ego, you have to produce. I've seen that a lot. Artists can't stand when you tell them the truth that they have to work. I mean, you have to work in anything that you had to make money. River Life Pottery says, I like that one. Where's the image from? All of the images are from AI. Well, not all of them, but most of them are from AI of how AI produces this. And I show inside the community how you can produce it for yourself. So a lot of people who don't understand, I get this question about it to be like, I teach the community if you don't want to feel like a lot of people think that we're over here stealing other people's ideas or copying or whatever. And I'm like, You can't reinvent the wheel, but I show you how to reinvent the wheel in a way or something that you might have seen before. And then you can ask AI how to reverse engineer certain things. So everything that you see, it's either a painting that I've done before, or it's a painting that I've asked AI to recreate the wheel for me, and AI does it. I use the reference. Boom. So that way it's your painting, it's your idea. So nobody can say to you, you stole that from, no, even that person, whoever it is, probably stole it from something else, but it's AI that just created it. And we're just going off of it. We're just being kids off of it. Like, I'm using whatever for the proportions, but I'm using my color in my own likeness of the AI image. I so going back to what, like, it's hard to tell artists the truth. I had a recent video where I talked about, like, most artists won't produce 1,000 paintings. And then someone wrote this like Bible novel in there. I didn't even read all that stuff like that. I already know there's like, it's hard to tell somebody the truth who's the uninitiated. And they're like, you come off very condescending, and I don't like your attitude. You come off obnoxious by telling me I have to work. I don't care. I'm not a content creator. I didn't make this to be a content creator and to be liked by everybody. If you want to be liked by everybody, then you're not going to be liked by anybody, and you're not going to be liked by yourself. You need to just be yourself. I wrote back and told the person, you focus on being yourself. I'm gonna focus on being myself. I'm not trying to be liked by everybody. I'm a coach. I'm telling you, my passion is to help you make money and produce. I know it might hurt your feelings, some people, when I tell them, hey, you have to work. If you want to produce 1,000 paintings, some people it hurts their feelings where I have to say to you, you're broke. You're broke. If you want money, if you want to help yourself make money, then do this. I'm not in a business to tell you to create paintings because they're pretty to hang up in your house for free. That's not my business. If you want that business, then go to a free Facebook group, go to another YouTube channel where they're telling you how to waste your time doing art fairs, newsletters. That's not what you're here for. And if you're here because you're part of my tribe, then you're here for a reason where it resonates to you. If it doesn't resonate to you, then you don't have to be here, because I know the truth hurts. Nobody in this world cares about your problems when you're broke. They don't care about what kind of pretty artwork that you're hanging up in your house for free. No one's trying to hear that. And if you are, then that's cool. There's other artists who probably talk about that. Hey, paint like me for free. Man, we're in 2026. Gas is expensive. I got bills to pay. What are you talking about? I'm not trying to listen to any of that stuff. If it hurts your feelings that I'm telling you that you're broke, then don't write me no novel. Don't do any of that stuff. Just go to the other broke channels. I'm not trying to be a content creator. I'm here to help people, free you from your life of things that you're going through, the things that I've went through as well. I'm helping you, show you how you can free yourself and make money from a platform that already has the buyers there. You don't even have to be an experienced artist. How you can do this all from the comfort of your home. You don't have to do art fairs, and you don't have to do TikTok dances. You don't have to do all this other stuff that they tell you that you had to do. I'm not telling you to make polar bear hairs in 1,000 hours, and let me show you how I do that 1,000 hours. I'm telling you, use a timer and get to work. If that hurts your feelings, then cool. That's awesome. That's why I started off with the first lesson on here is like, it's okay. Don't dim your life. It's okay for you to be arrogant. Say whatever. I don't care. I had that air where people said that I had that air ever since I was a child. I don't care. I believe in myself. You need to feel like it's okay to believe in yourself too. Don't fall into that thing. You need to be humble. That's just only saying that for broke people or for people who they don't have the confidence and their light is little. Oh no, that's not what it means. Please. Try to sell that dream to somebody else. Being persistent matters more than that single viral moment. Content creators are trying to go viral. They're trying to make videos that go viral and stuff. I'm trying to be consistent. And a lot of my messaging is the same of what I'm always saying. My messaging might be even the same on different videos because these are strong points that I'm always going to reiterate. A lot of times you need to hear the same message over and over and over so it can stick to you and it can resonate in your bones. It has to. I can't just say the same. I can't, like, just how I'll talk about art. You can't reinvent the wheel. I'm not going to reinvent the wheel on on my business practices that work and that are the principles of how I work. You have to be persistent. And then these are people who want you to be broke. They want your art to be a hobby. They want you to treat it like a hobby. And then me personally, it irks my bones to hear people in 2026 talk about art or like the business of it. It just needs to be like a hobby or something. Well, I'm humble and you're not because I don't take my art as serious as you, and I do it because I love the look of it, and I spend 20 hours painting one nice flower and I hang it up in my kitchen and I'm a better person than you. Then good for you. Good for you that you have 20 hours of you not getting paid for it and you're burning your time. Like, think about that. That doesn't even sound like a real person. Like, that sounds like a privileged person. I'm not privileged like that. I got to work for my money, and time equals money. I don't have the time to be sitting around and I'm not worried about bills or situations to be thinking about painting stuff for free like it's a hobby. No, this is a business. I'm teaching the business of making art. There's so many people who's already done that. I'm teaching on the aspect of people who either haven't done it before and you want to make the money, and I'm teaching hard for the people where my coaching is for people who already went through all that stuff and they know everything that I'm talking about. That's why it resonates to them, and they don't want to do it no more and they want to make the money. But if someone's in the situation where they can sit at home, bake cookies, and create free art, then that's not the same crowd. We're not the same people. There's no free lunch out here. What world are you living in? Not my world. Not most people's world. And there might be a few people out there who are the exception, right? But you're like the 1% in comparison to the rest who aren't like that. I'm talking for everybody. I'm talking for the masses. My passion is to help the masses. Those are usually the ones that I have those are usually the ones that I have friction with. Like, and I love making videos for the friction of people like that, to be honest. I love it because I talk at my high level of how I talk on purpose. A, because I live it and it's true, but also the ruffle the feathers of the people who either the gatekeepers or the ones who are like, well, actually, you need to do art this way. I don't care. I'm better than you because I look at it as a hobby and I want to make the beautiful stuff. That's cool. But you don't even understand, the more that you're working in the way of how we work anyways, you'll naturally make the beautiful stuff. But it's a lottery ticket. You can't, like, people who talk like that, they act like every single painting that you do, it's naturally going to be the beautiful stuff, every single painting. That just means that you want to get an A plus on every assignment. And you can't predict that. I have more chances of making the lottery ticket beautiful stuff the more that I show up and do it. The ones who say that they don't care about making money from it, or the ones who do it for their own kitchen art, are the ones who are scared to put it out into the market, and they don't even believe it in themselves. That's why they want to put it in their own kitchen. There was another video I did like a month ago, and it was something along the lines of like, it was also being facetious, but it was also serious, where it was like, how many paintings do you have to do a day? And I'm like, do 100, do 100 paintings a day. Some people were pissed about that. Like, you telling me I gotta do 100 paintings a day? Like, you're really upset about that. If you're already upset about that, then it already lets me know your mindset that you're not ready to commit, and have days where you put in your mindset that you can push yourself and be like, hey, maybe today I have to put, I mean, of course, like, you're not going to do it, or maybe you won't, but at least that you'll know what you're capable of. Aim for the stars, hit the moon. If I tell you to do 100 a day, what I'm giving you an exercise to drop your ego. I'm not telling you the number count. You're doing that. You're putting the metrics on there, and that's why you're hurting yourself. So we talk about the Spartans, right? And how they learned, they didn't think about the number count. It was through exertion, perception, or perception of exertion. And you're the one who is upset. They get upset when you tell them something. They get upset when you tell them the truth. What? I gotta work. I'm working with acrylic because it dries faster, and I'm producing. They get so upset when you tell them that they gotta work. You telling me I gotta work? I thought you promised me that it was a get rich quick scheme and that I could make $1 million tomorrow and I could produce anything I want. If it's art is so subjective, right? It's like, I don't know. Maybe your art, maybe how your strategy is the problem. Maybe your art is the problem. Maybe there's so many different things of it where it's like there's different formulas of it, right? Does that mean that everybody who does it and like everybody's going to have the same collector? Everybody's going to have the same dollar amount? That's not even realistic. That's not even practical. Some people, it's hard to tell people the truth because they don't want to work. And it's so crazy. We're in a day and age. We're in a day and age where it's offensive to tell people that you got to work. I'm just from a different generation where we had to work. I've had a job ever since I was 14 years old. I've always worked. That's just the generation that we're in. But some people take it offensive that you tell them that they got to work. Well, I just don't want to work that hard. All right, then that's cool. I'm talking for the people who they want the money. And you can start making sales as early as next week. I'm speaking for the initiated who don't want to wait till next month, 2 months from then, to this special art fair that you're going to go to. You go to the special art fair, you buy this booth, and then you buy the booth, and like the people who really sell you the idea and who are making the money for the art fair is the people who are over the art fair. Those are the hustlers. You should be mad at them. Those are the ones who are making so much money on your art booth and you buying the lot that you're on, the land or whatever. They're making the money, and then they tell you that, oh wow, this is going to be a special year. They always got these same stories. This is going to be a special year. We got so many new collectors coming out, and there's going to be so many buyers, and we got all these collectors. You're going to be making a lot of money, and then you don't sell anything. You might sell one print, but it doesn't even cover the pricing of the lot or the art fair, but you had to wait 2 months, 3 months. By that time, you could have got a regular job. Or by that time, you could have just been working on eBay. Commit to yourself. Don't get offended of Corbelli telling you the truth that you have to show up. This is how you show up. As long as you follow the program, it's not going to seem like work. Only thing you have to do is just follow the program. But you told me. I'd rather, in how I coach too, I'm not a content creator where I'm trying to please everybody. And I'd rather tell you the truth than be somebody where it's like I'm some guru and I'm just selling you some get rich quick scheme or some pipe dream or whatever. At least I do a quick filter of you. You want to work, then work. If not, that's cool. Go to another channel and watch pretty flowers for free. Let me know in the comments right now if I'm making sense or if I'm hurting your feelings. Tell me the truth. You're hurting my feelings. Another reason like why it's hard for you to tell people the truth, or especially artists, and for me and my mindset why I don't care about it is because like I've sold 18,000 paintings. Nobody can take that away from me. It's there. So for me, it's like I already put my work in. I put my work in and I'm supposed to feel sad about somebody who don't want to put the work in. It's kind of hard for me to do. Now, other coaches who only talk in theory and they haven't built a business up, it's easy for them to sell you a pipe dream and not care about your feelings or whatever because they didn't put the work in. But it's like me, I already put the work in. I already made and created so many paintings and I already sold, packaged, and I'm supposed to feel sad about you not wanting to work. I don't care. I don't have sympathy for that because I've already worked so much. Other coaches might have sympathy for it because they haven't worked. Petit Floral says, my husband sees a lot of your videos because I'm watching your course content. And recently we saw the YouTuber and your husband says, oh my God, that artist is taking 3 months on one painting. Could you imagine? Like, I just can't imagine doing stuff like that. I don't have the patience for it. Just like I didn't have the patience to be like stuck in a classroom all bored. Some people are really good for stuff like that. That's why I say it's usually people who do art like that. Those are the straight A students because they're really good at sitting down in the classroom all day and just like my teacher told me the sky is blue. The book says so. As long as I do this and I do this and I do that step, 3 more months, and then they think that it's going to be like since you like the selling point of them creating the art then when who with the collector of the gallery, you know what their selling point is going to be that they're going to tell everybody. They're going to tell everybody that it took them 3 months to do it. It's not the selling point isn't the art or whatever it is or whatever the beauty of it is or whatever the of whatever the painting is and the happy mistakes or whatever it is that's the happy ugly mistakes. Their selling point is going to be well, yeah, because you know this painting it took me 3 months to do. Wow, 3 months? Yeah, I really spent a lot of internal reflection with the diasporis of the like just saying all kinds of stuff, you know. Like then they become more of a novelist. They become more of a poet. Those type of people are more poets of anything than artists. And I can't say that. They're okay, fine. They're artists. It's just I just always look at them like not an artist. You're a nerd who don't want to get a failing grade on your artwork. I don't care what people. My thing is different. I don't care what anybody. I don't care what people think. I aim for it. I think it was I think it was I forget who said it. But there's a famous quote where it was like a man with no characters is or a man with no enemies is a man with no character. Paul Newton. A man with no character or a man with no enemies is a man with no character. Sometimes you got to aim for the enemies. At least that you're being yourself. At least that you're okay with just you can't be everybody's cup of tea. You can't. I worry about people like that. Run away from people like that with those people that you meet and they have personality switches. Anytime that they're around different people, they turn into a different person. They agree with everybody. When they're in private with you, they agree with certain things with you, but then when they're around somebody else, they turn it like run away from people like that. Like you can't be a fan of everybody. At least have some backbone. It's okay. You gotta be okay with it. That's the most successful people. Those are the people that you want. Is the people who is like will tell the truth and is okay with taking the arrows and being hated. It's fine. I aim for it. All right, look at that. Isn't that beautiful right there? Look at that, right? And there we go. Look, I'll show that again. There we go. So that was fun. We knocked out 7 paintings. Um, we also had 7 different topics to go on and had a lot of fun today for St. Patrick's Day. Had the green on right here. I don't know if you celebrate St. Patrick's Day, but if you do, please do it responsibly. Be safe out there. Drive safe. Or, cook, spend time with your family, whatever it is. I had fun. It was some fun paintings. I really didn't have the references out. I should have done that earlier, but that's fine. It's just kind of like getting back into the live stream. I hope that you enjoyed the live stream, how we have everything kind of like mapped out on the subject part down there, and how we have the new thing. Let's see. There we go. Take that part off. All right. So that's what we got right there. Had a lot of fun. Let me ice this down. I'll be back tomorrow for another painting live stream, so that way we can have some other conversations. If you're not already a part of the elite community, please click the link that's already in the chats. It's pinned to the top, so that way you can learn how you can do this for yourself. You can make money. You can make sales as early as next week. Everything is mapped out for you. Everything is already there. There is no guessing game. You don't have to figure it out. We have the community there. We have Q&A meetings. That's every week on Sundays. And if you haven't already, also leave a like on the video. That really helps me out. Lets me know. Let's YouTube know that we are doing God's work out here. That we're actually having some great conversations here. Like we got the best live streaming painting show right here. There's nobody else that's doing it like this, especially on the topics that we're hitting for that nobody else likes to discuss and nobody else likes to talk about. All right, let me see if anybody left any super chats in here before I log off. All right, nope. All right, so I'll see you guys later. I appreciate you.